Hello, if you are just joining us today, we are talking about the three components of color. So we just went through our weekly slides, and what we are going to do today is sketch out our exercise to further explore those three components of color. Excuse me as I adjust the camera. And this is the slide that's on the weekly slides, and we're going to draw out this visual here in pencil today. And tomorrow we are going to then add color. Now each one of these long skinny rectangles represent one of each component. Hue is going to be the top one, value is going to be the middle one, and intensity, also known as saturation, will be the exercise on the bottom. But let's go ahead and get it drawn out first with our grid ruler and a pencil and our sketchbooks open to a new page. So with our grid ruler, as always, you are going to make sure it's flipped forward, and the 1 is on the left side, facing forward. Good, good, good. And you are going to begin on a new page in your sketchbook, and you're going to draw a 5-inch by 5-inch square. So I'm going to do a 5-inch line going across. Flipping my ruler vertical, going 5 inches down. I like to spin my paper. You do whatever's comfortable. And if you are spinning, just make sure it's right side up before we start painting. Now with our ruler, I'm going to turn my sketchbook sideways, and I'm going to find my ruler, face it forward, put the 1 facing forward, make sure it's on the left. This corner of the ruler is going to go on the inside corner of my square, and I'm going to now mark above the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. Sliding my ruler to the other side, I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to mark again above the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. Flipping my sketchbook right side up. That's where those dashes are. With your ruler, we are going to connect those dashes horizontally. So it should look like this. With the eraser on your pencil, or if you need to grab one from the center of the room, that's fine. You are going to erase some parts of this vertical line. So I'm going to erase a little section right here, a little section right here, and the same on the other side. Now when we do this, it creates 3 floating long rectangles. Just like that. Now with our ruler, we are going to, again, face it forward. Make sure the 1 is on the left. I'm going to place this corner on the inside of this top rectangle. And I'm going to mark again above the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. Slide it down to the bottom line on the bottom skinny rectangle here. And I'm going to mark above the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. Now watch closely. What you are going to do is you're going to take your ruler and you're going to use the edge of it, line up those with 2 dashes that are vertical, and you are going to draw lines only within the 3 rectangles. So you're not going to slice it all the way across. I'm going to start it within the top rectangle. I'm going to do a vertical line, stop, hop over, center rectangle, vertical line, stop, hop over, bottom rectangle, vertical line, stop. Okay, you're going to do this for the other dashes as well. Vertical line, stop, hop over, vertical line, stop, hop over, vertical line. Now when you do this, you then are establishing 5 sections within each rectangle. Good, guys. Good job. We have 3 more lines to place. The last lines that we have to place are going to be slicing these across horizontally. So these are 1 inch tall, and this is a ruler that is 2 inches in width. If our rectangle is 1 inch tall, we want to line up the 1/2 inch line right here with the bottom rectangle, and I'm going to make sure it's nice and level. This first horizontal bold line on our rectangle, and that will line up to 1/2 inch. Slice across using this first bold horizontal line here. If you want to eyeball it, if it's a little confusing with what I'm doing right now, that's fine. Just eyeball it and slice it across. Totally fine. All right, and let's go ahead and at the top above here, leave a little space, but we're going to label this components of color. You can do it fancy, you can just handwrite it, normal, that's fine. Just so that you know what these are. Now, above this section here, I am going to write hue, our first component that we talked about today. The purest form of color is represented in the top rectangle here. The middle rectangle, we're going to represent through this exercise value. And then our third component is going to be represented in the last rectangle, intensity, and I'm just going to put /saturation because I say that sometimes, go back and forth, and I don't want you to get confused. So they're the same thing. So hue, intensity, or hue, value, and intensity are those 3 components. Now for your exercise that you're going to paint with tomorrow, By the end of this exercise, you are going to have a very colorful diagram. To help us remember what we're doing in each section, let's put one little label, A for the top row here and WC for the bottom row here. You're going to be using acrylic paint for the top row to try out these concepts with that. And then you are going to be, I'll make it a little bigger for you guys, watercolor for the bottom row. So I'm going to put an A and then WC just to help me not get confused on what type of paint I'm going to use on each row. So tomorrow, the first thing that you are going to do is you're going to start with hue. I suggest you guys begin with watercolor, this row here. What you're going to do for pure hue, to exercise pure hue, you are going to use watercolor and you are going to dip your paintbrush directly in red. The purest red from that palette goes straight to this box here. Okay? You're going to then do pure, I thought your palettes do have orange. You're going to put the pure orange here. Okay? Pure yellow from your paint palette here, that watercolor. Pure green from your palette here, and pure blue. You can then move on to, with watercolor still out, move on to this row here to explore value. With value, you might want to use blue just to stay consistent with my diagram, or you can use another color. But what I use is this blue is straight Q out of the palette. So you're going to put that pure blue right here. And how do you lighten blue or a color with watercolor? Do you use white or do you, no, I see it's taken, yes, you want to add water. So for watercolor right here in this bottom section, we'll start here. You're going to add a little bit of water with blue and then even more water with blue, and that creates your, technically your tints. Going in this direction, you're going to add blue with a little bit of black and a little bit more black watercolor to make your shades, okay? So that's going to be in the watercolor row. Once you're done exploring value, you're going to then explore the watercolor intensity scale. So you're going to start out for this one, listen closely. You're going to start out with green in one corner, or one side, and red in the other side. These are complementary colors. You are going to then mix them 50-50. So 50-50. And when you mix those two colors together, you get a gray. Once you have that mixture in your watercolor palette, you guys are going to then mix that 50-50 mixture with green to make it transition to make a gradient. And then you're going to have that 50-50 mixture mixed a little bit more with red to make that a gradient. Just to show you that you can make or lessen that intensity with two complementary colors. That's our goal, okay? So the first phase is watercolor. So that's here, here, here. And we'll see if we have time tomorrow to then get out acrylic paint. Acrylic paint, you'll do the top rows. You're going to do the same method, but this time you're going to do straight out of the tubes, those colors in acrylic, and I'm going to find some orange from my background. I need to remember that for you to use for straight out of the tube colors. For value, you're going to choose a color. Again, and for my example, blue, you're going to add a little bit of plus white, blue plus more white to make your tint here and here. You're going to add a little bit of black plus more black to make your shades, to make your value scale with acrylic. So we're practicing that component. Then the bottom one with acrylic, you're going to choose again green and red, mix them 50-50, and then you can mix those mixtures together here, or you can do, figure out how to create that intensity scale with those mixtures there. But you'll do that on a tile with acrylic paint for part 2. Okay? So this is what we're going to practice tomorrow. right away tomorrow when you come into class, I'd like for you to get out your watercolors and start the bottom sections. So that is what we are exploring. Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you for those that watched the video. Have a great day.